A hot and humid Saturday night in South Florida provides a setting that's anything but comfortable for top-ranked Lou City. Standing in their way is a Miami FC squad that's wobbly and wounded, but battle-tested against superior talent. Greetings to all. With Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon. Chris, it's a David versus Goliath matchup with the best team in the league and Lou City coming to town, but Miami's coming into this match with an ace card.
Yeah, Bonfiglio's been on great form this season, but it's been a struggle for many teams. When you have one player that gets all the goals, as you can see with Loudon, as you can see with Miami FC, when that player doesn't score, there's no one there that really picks up the slack. And I think that's what's been the strength in Louisville and obviously been the strength in Charleston. They have a number of players who are picking up goals on a consistent basis.
There's no goalkeeper Bill Hamid tonight for Miami, so starting in his place is Felipe Rodriguez. What's going to be important for him tonight?
He has big shoes to fill because what's missing in the goal is that leadership, that MLS experience that squad. That Bill Hamid brings to the squad on the field is going to be lacking tonight. So it's going to be interesting how he feels that void.
Eastern Conference standings right now with Miami on the outside the playoff line looking in. Time is now against them, but the opponents are within striking distance.
Yeah, you're looking at Miami FC, and they really do need to pick up 3 points to get themselves across that line. But Tampa Bay Rowdies now rock bottom. Everybody just feels like it's a sleeping giant waking to awake and make a late surge into the playoffs. So even the teams surrounded by them, they can't take it for granted. They've really got to take responsibility of things themselves, take matters into their own hands and pick up 3 points, which is going to be very difficult against Louisville City tonight.
Lou City forward Taylor Davila was named Player of the Week for his performance against Charleston. What's his biggest asset to this loaded Lou City side?
I think it's his composure and possession of the ball. He has the ability to pick passes. He has the ability to finish himself. And he's a little bit underestimated for the amount of tenacious work that he does in the middle of the park. He's very industrious. He works hard. He's not just a luxury player that doesn't defend. So I think he's deservedly Player of the Week.
Lou City unbeaten their last 7, trying to push this thing up to 8 and add to the misery of Miami FC. Coming up in the other side, we'll get you the starting 11 and first touch. It's Miami and Lou City coming at you next.
Some people think Miami is just flamingos and palm trees.
And hell yes, we have badass sunsets.
But Miami's Little Havana,
Doral,
Little Haiti,
Hialeah,
Wynwood, Coconut Grove,
Kendall,
Calle Ocho, Sweetwater, Homestead,
cortaditos y coladas
empanadas y croquetas.
is so much more. This is the 305.
This is who we really are. This is what we are all about.
I am Latino.
I'm a disruptor.
I am LGBTQ.
I am a villain.
I am a mother.
I am Haitian.
I am an athlete.
I am an activist.
I am a king.
I am American dream.
I am the future.
I am
Miami
FC.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Doral Kia. Drive for less, drive Doral. Bon Bon Boom, suck at something. Macron, become your own hero. And Baptist Health. And we are back live at Pitbull Stadium. Chris Nurse and David Gascon. First of 2 matches between these two sides in Miami FC and Lou City. A wonderful but hot Saturday night. Starters for Miami, led by head coach Gaston Madoni. A 4-2-3-1 at the top of the pitch, Francisco Bonfiglio.
Yeah, 4-2-3-1 gives them a lot of stability and the ability to change the formation from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-4-1-1 defensively. But Bonfiglio is really the player that you have to look out for. He's been their main man carrying them so far this season defensively. They've been okay, very up and down, but he's been the main guy.
On the flip side of things, we look at head coach Danny Cruz and Lou City. This year, they have been fantastic. In between the sticks, Damian Loss, 4-4-2 for Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're 4-4-2 or if they drop into a 3-5-2. We know for sure it's going to be Wilson and Goodrum up top. Defensively, they've been a little bit shaky. It's been a while since they kept a clean sheet, and the partnerships has changed a little bit at the back. So it's going to be interesting to see how they approach things from a defensive standpoint tonight.
Loss this season has gone the distance. 13 victories, a loss, 5 draws, a goals against average at .79. He's got 6 clean sheets on the year, and he received a ton of praise from his head coach earlier this week, Danny Cruz. He feels like he's the best keeper in the league.
Yeah, he comes up big in big moments, and every top team, whether you're second in the league or first in the league, you need a goalkeeper who can come up in big moments. Obviously, you have a good defense, which means maybe you don't defend or face as many shots as a team at the bottom, but there's key moments that you come in when you really have to perform for your team, and he's done that consistently over the season. So far, they're not across the hurdle yet, but he's been solid so far this year.
Take a look at Felipe Rodriguez. His last start was on July the 29th. Miami played to a 1-1 draw at Pittsburgh, a game in which they led late in that affair and then conceded a goal in the 95th minute as this match is underway. Miami in their dark kits tonight, Lou City, the visitors, in their white and purple kits. They'll be on the attack, trying to get themselves their 47th point of the year. You thought last year was good for them. This year has been even better. A Players' Shield in 2024, but it doesn't look like there's any brakes on this train for Lou City in 2025.
Yeah, they're going after it again this year, and they're going after it hard. They want everything. They want to win everything, and they went back to the basics of being defensively more solid. There's still room for improvement there. As we mentioned, they haven't kept a clean sheet for a number of weeks, so they're going to get stronger there. Danny Cruz has spoken about players coming back from injury and being able to have his strongest squad available for selection. But he's also spoken about where they are in their performance curve over the course of the season. He feels like they're getting close to their peak, but they're not quite there yet. There's still work that he believes needs to be done.
Sets the table for your keys to tonight's matchup.
Keys to tonight's matchup for Louisville: keep a clean sheet. 6 games without a clean sheet. I know Danny Cruz will be happy with the way his team's performing with what they've done, but little things like that, he'll want to see improvement. So, and I think it is a big part for improvement. Going into the playoff stages, the better you are at keeping clean sheets, your defenders have that confidence, your goalkeeper has that confidence, the more likely you're to be successful and be able to win games by a small margin. Maybe the 1-0 goal or the goal that comes from a set piece. If you're conceding, that task always gets a lot harder. For Miami, their success so far this season has been through Bonfiglio, so they have to be able to provide him with quality service. There's been a number of games this season where he's not provided with quality service. It makes his task of goal scoring almost impossible. If they're able to possess the ball and build and provide him good service in good areas, he has the capability to put the ball in the back of the net. But it's that build-up play and finding him in those areas that's really been the struggle. A lot of opportunities he's scored, he's had to go digging himself or chase hopeless passes or hopeless balls and turn nothing into something. And he's going to require a little bit better service than that to be efficient.
The challenge tonight also for Miami is they're without 3 key pieces. Sebastian Blanco, Bill Hamid, and Diego Mercado are all out for Gaston Madoni. They do get one part back. Alejandro Matrano, who's been out for about 4 to 5 weeks because of a bad ankle sprain, a high ankle sprain, has returned. He's not amongst the starters, but he is dressed and he is active.
Yeah, but for Miami FC, it's catch-22. You are missing some big names or some big features from your consistent roster, but they've been very inconsistent in performance as a group. So it's really a chance for some players who have been on the sidelines to get in there and make a name for themselves. That enthusiasm, that energy that they've been keeping pent up on the bench, it's an opportunity to get out there and make a name for yourself and prove to the coach that you want to be in the starting lineup. So it's going to be interesting to see how those players coming into the squad tonight are able to go out there and make an impact.
McFadden nearly dragged down Jonathan Ricketts, and speaking of that, he immediately gets tripped up by Philip Goodrum. All of a sudden, no card being shown, though. Goodrum fortunate enough to get away with that one. Rodrigo Albuquerque is our lead official tonight. A little surprised we didn't see caution.
Yeah, I think it was I think it's good refereeing, to be fair. I think very often we see referees in a challenge like this early in the game, they do go into the book, but 3 minutes into the game, I think it's the right decision. Give him a warning. We know that Goodrum is not your normal centre forward. He does like to press, he does like to defend, he works very hard for the team. He's not just a selfish striker who stands up there and says, feed me. So it's no surprise that he's making tackles that you'd see from midfielders or defenders. But I think he has to be a little bit cautious.
Not. This ball chipped by Tobias Zarate. It's the buck. The header screams on goal, but it goes right to Damon Loss, and it's his first touch of this evening.
So great delivery from Zarate there. Deceives everybody, and the delivery is pinpoint to his teammate's head. Lots of power on it, but too far out to beat the keeper from that distance.
McFadden. It's one of a couple players in the offseason that signed a contract extension with Lou City. Ray Serrano and Kyle Adams, Taylor Davila, all did the same. Picked up Zach Duncan in the offseason from Memphis 901. And probably the biggest acquisition was bringing in Kevon Lambert. He's on loan from Real Salt Lake. So pieces moving around for Lou City, but this is the team that has just simply recalibrated. Last year, they finished 24-6-4, 76 points. They were the top dog in the Eastern Conference. The Player Shield, but unfortunate for them, they bowed out in the Eastern Conference semis, losing to Rhode Island 3-0. This portion of the broadcast brought to you by Doral Kia.
Doral Kia is loaded with over 500 new Kia models in stock now. Test drive a new 25 Kia Sportage today. Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive Doral.
While Miami has not seen the kind of success that Lou City has in recent years, Miami has already eclipsed their win total from 2024. Club that was 3-29 and a couple of draws, but outside of that, they only earned 11 points. It was the worst record in USL Championship. But they've really turned things around, not only in the defensive category, but also offensively with Bonfilio putting a blowtorch to everybody else. 11 goals, tied for the league lead in that category. And Gaston Madoni said earlier this season he thought he'd be a Golden Boot contender. Well, he's lived up to the hype. And in many instances, like you said earlier, Chris, he's done a lot of this stuff on his own.
Yeah, he chases, he works so hard, and sometimes that tenacious work ethic allows you to create your own luck, and he's done that a number of times this season. Miami FC is a very up and down organization. They were once the club that you looked up to, that everybody aspired to be. Then they had a big drop off, and obviously they're trying to regain that both on and off the field. For Louisville, we spoke about the changing surface. They're on turf tonight compared to the beautiful grass surface that they normally compete on. The fan base that they competed against last week against Charleston, booming. And then tonight, not so many fans. They have to create their own atmosphere. They have to make sure internally that they can hold themselves accountable to high standards, because they're not going to be driven by the fans that aren't in the stadium. They have to be driven by their internal standards.
First free kick of the match for Lou City. This in a couple Titans in USL Championship saw Lou City ambush Charleston. They led 4-0 at the end of the opening half. The final score was 4-1, but it was pillar to post all Lou City. They were pure class in that matchup for full 90. Yeah, the scary part is how good Louisville City are at doing what they do. You finish a game with less than 30% possession, but you run away 4-1 winners. Similar in the Loudon game, less than 30%, I think it was 24% possession, and you run away 4-1 winners. So it's being comfortable in your skin and being comfortable in what you're doing, knowing who you are and what you're good at as a group and as a team. Some teams like to possess the ball and they run around every game and they lose, talking about how well they played. How can you play well if you lost the game? Louisville, there's times when they possess well, there's times where they don't possess the well, and I think this is one of Danny Cruz's greatest skill sets. He's able to adapt for each opponent differently. Adams towards the back post. The ball never got over onto the right-hand side, and possession will stay with Lou City. Yeah, and that 4-1 throttling, Wilson Jansen with the brace, Philip Gooderum and Taylor Davila scored in that affair.
And I think the standings of the table speak for themselves. Louisville City are in the business of picking up 3 points and winning games by whatever means is required for that weekend's game or that midweek game. They're not in the business of possessing and being ineffective and end of the season, yeah, we played well, but we didn't win anything and we didn't pick up too many points.
Davila. Good ball. That'll go right to Felipe Rodriguez.
They're in the business for exactly what teams, fans, organizations want to see. They want to know that you can get the best out of your players and you can win games, you can win championships, and you can compete with the best teams maybe in the country. I wouldn't even pigeon them whole to the USL Championship right now. I would say you could pin them up against anybody, and they're going to go out and give a great representation of themselves in the organization. So.
The underbelly of your comment tells me you have relegation on your mind.
Always, always, because I think there may be the one club that operates already with that in mind.
Yeah.
You never hear Danny Cruz talking about we're just going to make the playoffs and, you know, it's a long season. From the first whistle to the last whistle, they're all about being number one. They don't want to entertain any other conversations. And as their motto, I think, that they have inside their dressing room, they don't like to make excuses. And I think it's such an important thing to have on a daily basis for players to be accountable and to eradicate instances where mediocrity becomes normalized. When teams start to focus on being eighth, it allows you to be mediocre for long periods of the season and focus on just having a good 3 weeks at the end. And we know that's not what the game is really based on. So I think that they are one of the teams that set the standard, and everybody else is having to chase them, especially with Charleston already 1-0 down against Pittsburgh. So the gap between first and second is starting to open up now also.
McFadden asking for this ball, but just ran out of real estate, and he did cross the inline, so it goes back to Miami. There's Danny Cruz in his 5th year as the head coach of Lou City. Back in 2024, he was USL Coach of the Year. First ever Players' Shield for Lou City, a native from Petersburg, Virginia. Played collegiate soccer in the desert, UNLV, and then eventually a 9-year pro in MLS, ending in 2017. So he's done a great job going from the collegiate ranks to the professional, and now the sidelines as a coach, and he has a contender year in and year out. And as you mentioned, Chris, it's the standard that he has set, that this culture is right for guys that come in and they float, they sail, and there's an expectation to win week in and week out.
Yeah, and he knows the characters that are required to be successful under his leadership. So the organization always also has to provide him with that support. He knows the players that he recruits have to be able to operate in a certain mindset, in a certain intensity, in a certain atmosphere. So he knows the players that he's recruiting, able to get the best out of them, get everybody on the same page, working as a unit, and that's the calibration for success that he's got on a consistent basis.
Goodrum was asking for it, could not get to it. Dia allows this thing to roll out of bounds. Just a winning culture in Lou City. You add on top of all of that, the facilities, the fan base. Gaston Madoni trying to build that here in Miami. It's taken him some time, but the team has slowly built themselves into a real pain to play against.
Yeah, they've become hard to beat. I think last season,
played into the box. Goodrum, great stop by Rodriguez. He can't get the rebound. Philip Goodrum on the board. Lou City 1-0.
and when you look at that in reflection, it's a really poor goal to give away. Directly from a throw-in, it's a great run here from Goodrum. You expected to make better connection than the first one. He's very fortunate. Rodriguez gives him a second bite of the apple, and on that occasion, I think he just ricochets off his head into the back of the net, giving Louisville City a fairly straightforward 1-0 lead.
Stash is working tonight in Miami, and for Goodrum, his team-leading 11th goal this season. He's not a one-man army, but this goes back to the illustration of your top players getting excellent service. It happened right there off a set piece, and Lou City on the board quickly, 1-0.
Yeah, I was just about to say that Miami FC have become harder to beat this year than last year. And on that note, they literally just went and gave away such an easy goal-scoring opportunity. But over the course of the season so far this year, they have been a lot harder to beat than they were last year. Last year, they beat themselves. They were giving away really silly goal-scoring opportunities from their own build-out play at the back. This year, they've eliminated some of those mistakes and become a lot more compact and organised. But that was a really poor goal to give away. A straight-on throw-in into the box. Nobody tracks Goodrum making the run. He probably should have finished on the first occasion.
How about this for retaliation? Lost with a good two-hand stop. Good delivery from Bonfilio. It's exactly who you want near the 18, but Damian Loss standing tall on his line.
Great work there from Bonfilio. Just controls it and turns at the same time on the edge of the box. Maybe about 20 yards away from goal, so it's going to be something spectacular to score from that distance. Hits the target with the left foot, and it's a pretty good save in the end there from Lass to maintain the one-goal advantage.
Impressive for Bonfilio because it's not even his dominant foot, but hit it flush. Fine job of pivoting to get that shot on goal. First opportunity towards it, and Miami's still without a goal.
Just here, turns on his first touch and just tries to bend it into the far corner. Fantastic effort for Lass. Ready and available to pounce on it. Pushes it away for danger.
Goodrum and Davila asking for this ball. Goodrum again. Rodriguez mishandles it. McFadden was close to it. Whistle blown. It goes back to Miami.
And I think you do feel the absence of Hamid a little bit. Just in the ability to command the box. You see the ball coming into some of those dangerous areas where Hamid is normally a little bit more proactive to come out and collect those balls and make some of these opportunities look straightforward. Rodriguez just on his heels a little bit. Able to clear away the danger, but Louisville definitely on the front foot. It's not a game where they're not dominating possession this week. They're definitely the more offensive team, taking control of the ball, creating the better chances so far in these opening 15 minutes.
They're the deeper team, no doubt about it. Best equipped at home, but just as sturdy on the road as well.
It'll be interesting to see how the substitutions are introduced into the game. The humidity and the heat in and around the 55-60 mark really has a big impact on the players who start the game. So it's going to be interesting to see how the substitutions are used to kind of freshen things up and ensure they don't lose that momentum.
Yeah, the one benefit for Lou City is they don't play in an environment that's that much different in terms of humidity in Louisville, Kentucky. Plane ride about 2 hours and 8 minutes. Fly right down to Miami, and then all of a sudden the humidity slaps you upside the head. Bonfilio asking for a foul here. Kyle Adams was mixed up with him. And we have an early book, and that'll go against him.
The one thing is, though, this turf adds another 10 degrees to whatever temperature it is. You can guarantee that if you're in the oven down there, it's a little bit warmer than it is on the grass.
Yellow card going against Kyle Adams. It's the first booking of the night for either side, but it sets up Miami right here with a free kick just outside the 18. Where are you going with this ball?
Depends who delivers it here, but again, your targets have to be Bonfiglio. He's been the guy with the hot foot inside the box.
Romero to the left, Tobias Zarate to his right.
Be something spectacular to beat Lass from this angle and this distance.
Looks to be Zarate who will take it. Zarate tries to go to the back post, and Bolu Akinyoni was the only one in close proximity, but that ball ran away.
Yeah, just didn't get enough whip or enough pace on it to threaten Lass in goal, and it definitely didn't give any of his teammates an opportunity to attack it. Probably put that one down as a wasted opportunity there for Miami FC.
Being a former player, how challenging is it for you as a competitor to go from grass to turf like this?
In the USL Championship, it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
So you're kind of accustomed to the different circumstances, the different situations that you face, and I think the top teams are able to adapt and cope with that quicker. Some of the lower teams are the ones that struggle to adapt in different environments. I think that's the pros and cons of home and away games. For Miami FC, it's the advantage that they have over Louisville. For Louisville, it's how quick can they adapt and find a way to be efficient on this surface, on this field also. So I think it's just it's a case of being able to adapt when you're away from home, when the surf is against you, when the crowd essentially could potentially be away from you. When many things don't go in your favor, can you go away and perform well and get results? And a lot of that is, yes, it's how you play. As I think we saw in some of the preparation, Louisville trained on turf in preparation for this game to get themselves a little bit more accustomed to it. But a lot of it is just psychologically how you prepare yourself for the game and how quickly you're able to adapt to the different challenges that you may face.
Jones with a bad ball, intercepted by Vasquez. Zarate, Vasquez will switch the pitch. Good job for Miami holding possession. Cardona with the lob in. Ball just a little bit too tall. Ricketts, Bonfilio, and Vasquez were all there.
Tosh with the big commanding defensive header there, clearing the danger.
Akinyoni adjusting his cleats, and Miami will recycle this. Miami this season has been okay at home, not above 500, but much better compared to last year. 3-5-3 on home soil. On the road, 2-4-2. All in all, they're winless right now in their last 7 matches. 0-3-4. Meanwhile, the other way, Lou City is unbeaten in 7 straight. And for them, they've been dominating the competition during this run. They've outscored the competition 17-5. You mentioned they're looking for a clean sheet, Chris, but the goal differential still continues to climb week in and week out.
Yeah, but coaches, managers, sometimes you win a game by 4 and you concede 1 and you really walk off the pitch with a feeling like you've lost the game. I've been in games where we win by 4 and you walk off and the manager's berating you when you get to the locker room for that chance that you gave away. Because you know when you get into the bigger games, it's going to matter. Those opportunities of giving away goals and not having that mentality or that consistency or that confidence in keeping clean sheets really does have a longer impact when it comes to winning trophies and championships. So with that in mind, knowing that's their longer term goal, they're going to know every time they don't keep a clean sheet that that's one of their objectives that they weren't able to accomplish. So it's definitely something I think they're going to continue to focus and hammer down on. For Miami FC, I'm interested to see what they will deem as success at the end of the season. As you mentioned, winless in 7. I think the minimum goal for Miami FC is make the playoffs. While it's a rebuilding year, there's a lot of new players, not new faces, new head coach. I think the minimum objective has to be make the playoffs, because this isn't a young roster. This is a roster where the average age is 28 years old plus, which means that these players aren't players who essentially are saying, oh, they're going to get better next year, or they're young players who are developing and going to be better in the future. These are experienced players who are essentially brought in to be effective and win now. So it's going to be interesting to see how they grow on that, how they develop on that, and decisions that are made. If they make it across the playoff line, I think they're good. I think they're going in the right direction. If they don't make it into the playoffs, I'm interested to see if there's going to be changes again going forward next season.
Gaston Madoni at one point had 7 Argentine players amongst the starting 11. It brought in an entirely new roster compared to years past. Tobias Zarate was the one that was throttled down there by Kevin Lambert.
And I think part of that being harder to beat this year is that the roster is far more experienced than last year.
Yep.
I think last year it was young players, maybe 2 or 3 experienced players. This year, everybody is the vast majority experienced, and maybe you have 1 or 2 that are inexperienced. So it's a completely different look in the roster in terms of experience at a professional level, whether that's USL at other professional levels in other leagues or other countries. There's players who understand the game at a higher level who haven't proven themselves competent.
With the increase in professionalism with experience comes the expectation to grab 3 points on a weekly basis, or at least the minimum of 1. For Miami, 5-9-5, 20 points. 9-point improvement already from last year, but still coming into tonight's affair on the outside of the playoff bubble looking in, and time is wasting away. Vasquez,
yeah,
trying to work. Vasquez towards the back post, they score! Oh, Lucas Milano, an absolute rocket, and we are level at 1 apiece.
It's a fantastic ball here from Vasquez. Just slows himself down. Look at the quality on the ball. Just hangs up at the far post. Milano arrives, nobody marking him. It's a great strike. He couldn't have connected to that one any better. Finds itself into the back of the end. Absolute rocket. Gives Las no chance. Ties things up for Miami. 1-1.
For Miami FC, someone outside of Francisco Bonfilio finally scored a goal. The drought has been broken for them, and they get themselves deadlocked on a missile from Milano. But you hit the nail right on the head, Chris. The goal was exceptional, but the pass was an absolute dime.
Yeah, and I think, again, we spoke about Louisville. Can they keep a clean sheet? The opportunity comes from no pressure on the ball. Nobody puts pressure on Vasquez. He's at a dangerous enough area where somebody should be getting pressure on him, not allowing him to face forward and play the ball forward in the first place. And then Milano comes across at the far post completely free. I think when you look back at it, maybe it's Dia who should have been having an eye on him, able to put him under pressure. Nobody even closes him down, and he's all left alone to smash it into the back of the net. So I think when Louisville dissect that, they're going to look at it from 2 aspects. No pressure on the ball was allowed to be delivered into the box, and nobody was tracking the runner or closing down the runner as a free strike on goal.
Oh, what a retaliation, and they get back on the board. Lou City and Philip Goodrum, there's a brace. That is lightning in a bottle for the road team, and Goodrum is all smiles.
And it may be deja vu. I remember there was a game a couple of weeks ago where Louisville scored from 2 long throw-ins again, and they've scored 2 goals again in this game from 2 long throw-ins, and it's the same finisher, Goodrum. On this occasion, he doesn't need a second chance. Perfect delivery, perfect connection. Again, look at the defending, just creeps off the defender, all alone, slides it into the back of the net. I think on this occasion, it's Romero that does a poor job of following Goodrum, but what a response from Louisville.
That was awfully quick. We were just going to mention that Miami snapped their scoreless drought at 197 minutes. And before you can blink, Philip Goodrum and Lou City are not going to take it on the chin like that. An immediate counterpunch from the top dog in USL Championship. Goodrum with the brace. He now has a team leading 12 goals on the season. And what do you know? He's now past Bonfilio for the league leading goals. Lou City 2, Miami FC 1.
Yeah, just when the game could have had the potential to change momentum and things to swing in favor of Miami FC after getting an equalizing goal, Louisville City responded immediately. Didn't even give them a chance to catch their breath. I think there's one thing that Miami FC have to be cautious of is you can't afford to just pass the ball out of play in your defensive third like you would normally, knowing that Louisville has that capability from the long throws. They need to clear the ball way upfield, away from the defensive third.
Miami had gone over 2 matches without a goal. In fact, their last goal was in the 83rd minute at Pittsburgh before they played to a 1-1 draw. Milano gets on the board tonight, his 2nd goal of the season, but then Lou City and Philip Goodrum come back immediately to get themselves back on the board and ahead 2-1. Zarate on the free kick, keeps it on the deck. Romero, soft chip. Right post, man open, and there's another equalizer! An offensive outburst for Miami. Don Knutson levels this sucker up at 2.
It's like a heavyweight slugfest right now where both teams just flying blows each other. Again, the goal comes from this defensive side, the left side, where lose that header there. I think it's Lambert, the ball just goes over the top of him, and Knutson's there inside the box, an unsuspecting goal scorer, buries it. Again, equalizing for Miami FC, 2-2. Everything's tied up once again.
He's now 2nd on the team in goals as Knutson. And for a guy that plays in the back line for Gaston Madoni, he's been available on set pieces throughout the year. It's his size that Knutson, but another lovely ball from Romero to start this one up, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, and I think there's consistent patterns in all 4 goals. If you look at both of Miami FC's goals, it's been diagonal balls delivered in between the centre-back and the full-back into that left-hand side of the field. And if you look at both of Louisville's goals, it's been long, direct throw-ins for Goodrum making a run from deep and attacking the near-post area. So I think both teams have maybe identified weaknesses in the defending of their opponents, and in the opening 25 minutes, they've been very efficient at exploiting both of those weaknesses.
The last time that Miami scored 2 goals in a match, you have to go all the way back to July the 5th, and they played in a 2-2 draw with FC Tulsa. Remarkable what has happened in this match, but Miami has been accustomed to doing this. They beat Loudoun United early this year. They beat Charleston at home. They won at San Antonio, and that's the troubling part that Gaston Madoni's mentioned to us, is his team plays to lowly ranked Tampa Bay, but this is still Exhibit A against a club that is far superior in terms of talent, points, goals, goal differential, and Miami has punched and counterpunched with the top dog.
Yeah, and this is why I said clean sheets, it has to be a focus of Louisville. For example, Miami FC have scored just 18 goals this season, including the goals tonight, possibly 19, including the goals tonight. That makes them the 2nd lowest scoring team in the conference. Now, for a team that wants to compete for a championship, you're not going to let the 2nd lowest scoring team in the conference score against you, because your defensive line, your goalkeeper, your midfield block should be that concrete that they're not able to create chances that easily, let alone convert them. But again, Louisville has shown some of those cracks in the defensive shape that have allowed Miami FC to score 2 goals tonight. Even if you look back last week in the match against Charleston, very early in the game, Charleston were able to create a number of good scoring opportunities that they didn't capitalize on. One of those coming in the first 2 minutes of the game that could have really changed the outlook had Charleston scored in those opening 2 minutes. So Louisville do give up goal scoring opportunities to their opponents. It's whether their opponents have the quality or the capability, or sometimes if Lady Luck is on their side on that day to put the ball into the back of the net. I think Miami FC have had 2 chances, maybe 3 chances. They scored 2 out of the 3 tonight. They've not been the most dominant team. So this is where Louisville definitely have to tighten up in, having the ability to start keeping clean sheets. This is 7th game in a string without keeping a clean sheet. For where they are in the table, for what they've accomplished so far this season, you'd expect a little bit more from that aspect from Louisville City.
Last time Lou City conceded a couple goals in a match, you have to go back to June the 20th. It's a 2-1 loss to North Carolina. But this is a club that's just been so good offensively. It's hard to even look at the weaknesses, if there are many.
That's if you're not including the friendly against Frankfurt.
No, we can't include that. Why do you want to include that?
If you're playing to win.
That's so Chris Nurse right there.
There's no friendly. That doesn't exist. You step on the field, there's always the same objective.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Lou City has been a powerhouse this year. 44 points coming into tonight's affair.
But you know me, I want the team that's #1 to win it all. I want them to win it all. And I think that approaching the last phase, it's out of themselves and Charleston on the Eastern Conference right now. And I think that little objective that they have there is the only Achilles heel that could prevent them from potentially doing it. I think if there's a collective focus, they're able to get players healthy and they're really able to tighten up in that area. I think they get what they deserve. They will get what they would deserve. I think if they don't tighten up in that area, you leave yourself open for somebody that maybe didn't have as strong a season to come in and hit you with a sucker punch.
Hydration break here in the 31st minute. Lou City and Miami FC locked up at 2 apiece. Dalton Knutson with the equalizing goal, his 3rd goal of the season. But for Miami, they've had some breakdowns, but to their credit with Gaston Madoni, they haven't just rolled over. In years past, that's exactly the case. But iron sharpens iron, and when you go up against an upper echelon team like Lou City, you better bring your best to the party. Otherwise, you're going to be embarrassed. And so far tonight, they've looked good.
Yeah, and look, you win 4-1 last week against Charleston. The two of you are top of the league. This week, you're tying 2 against Miami FC, bottom of the league. So, as we spoke about, that psychological component, being able to maintain consistency and the level of performance irrespective of the opponent or the fan base, is showing a little bit of absence tonight.
Christian Vasquez on the opening goal. Lucas Milano ties this game up at 1 apiece after Philip Goodrum got himself on the board, his league-leading 11th goal of the season. And moments after that, another long throw in here that was perfectly placed by Josh Jones, and Goodrum with the brace early on. All of a sudden, things settled down for Lou City, but not so fast. Romero here on another delivery.
Yeah, for Goodrum's goal, both opportunities. You tell me who's the player responsible for marking him. I see Goodrum run on 2 occasions, nobody marking him, completely alone when he's making contact with the ball. If they didn't learn the first time, you thought somebody would have made sure that they didn't allow it to happen the second time. But we saw exactly deja vu with that same scenario, same delivery, same run, same finish.
What do you think the head coaches are talking to their players about right now?
I think it'll be interesting whether Danny Cruz is upset or if he's composed and trying to get his team organized and settled down to play with a little bit more composure and a little bit more thought and focus when they're defending. Or he could be reading them the right act right now and letting them know that last week's performance, a fantastic 4-1 win against Charleston, is to bed. You may as well forget about it because tonight they've gone to Miami FC and conceded 2 goals in 30 minutes and tied against a team that's not even in the playoff run right now. So you've gone from beating the team that convincingly that's competing for first place to now tying and conceding 2 goals against a team that's struggling to be in the playoff positions right now. I don't know which one he's approaching, but I'm sure that he's looking for a response from them in either direction.
If there is a weakness on this Lou City team, what is it?
Well, right now, you'd have to say those diagonal balls that Miami FC keep playing in between Carl Adams and Dia on that left side have been a problem to deal with. It's where Milano got his first strike. It's where Knutson got the rebound to get the equalizing goal. So that's the area that it seems that Miami FC have been targeting to take advantage of and exploiting, where they see they can find cracks in the defense for Louisville City.
Earlier this week, Danny Cruz did acknowledge and actually highlight the point of what they did last week in throttling down Charleston to a 4-1 shellacking. Was there'd be a possibility of overlooking the opponent and then playing in a different environment with completely different elements that are at stake. Fans are different, turf is different, weather is different, and of course the opposition is as well too. Miami not amongst the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference, so he did think that he needed to drive home a point to tell his guys, hey, if you have a standard of excellence here in USL Championship, you can't let games like this get away from you. And right now, they're only playing toe-to-toe with Miami, which probably to a man they think is inexcusable. Yeah, and it's frustrating as a coach. But unfortunately, it's something that it's just sometimes just out of your hands, that you just have to find a way. You're prepared for it because you know it happens so frequently.
And you really hope that your players aren't going to represent or reflect that same pattern. But we see the pattern replicated so often. So it's hard not to be frustrated at it, but you really have to compose yourself and just find a way to get the 3 points out of the game without getting frustrated at something that you were really hammering down that you didn't want to see happen that your team displayed. So I think it just has to recalibrate and try to really focus on how they can go about getting the 3 points on a difficult night against a difficult opponent and continue to keep moving forward.
Danko with a block shot of Philip Goodrum, who's vying for a hat trick in this opening half. Goodrum had a guy open on his left-hand side, but the position there from Danko to close the gap and bait him into that shot. Danko's only played in a couple matches now with Miami, a newly acquired member of Gaston Madoni.
Number of appearances with the Dominican Republic national team.
Jones, this ball on a tee, but it was airlifted and it goes out of play.
It's not his first time playing in the US. Garcia spent some time with Puerto Rico FC back when they were in NASL back in 2016.
Jansen Wilson would love to have that opportunity back.
We were actually teammates for a short period of time.
What kind of stories can you tell us?
I know, I'm just trying to think, like that was so long ago. He must have been fairly young when he was here at that time.
So long ago, what are you talking about? You're making it sound like you're an old man. You're anything but.
I look young, but unfortunately the statistics don't tell the same story.
Father Time has treated you well as Romero's down on his backside. Take a look at this again with Kevin Lambert rolling up on his leg and Romero still down, getting back to his feet.
No complaints there from Lambert.
Kevin Lambert joined Lou City on loan from Real Salt Lake. He moves from MLS to USL Championship. What does that do for the psyche of a player?
It depends on the individual. Sometimes you see it as a positive. Maybe you get the opportunity to play more games, have a bigger impact in the squad, and use it as a motivating factor to build yourself up and come back. For some players, it can be the beginning of the end. It just depends on the character, whether you have the resilience to bounce back. And we know that all players need to be resilient because the game is never just an upward trajectory. There's going to be ups and downs across the duration of any players who's able to stay in the game for a substantial period of time. So it's just a moment in your career that you really have to be able to deal with, bounce back, and prove your value and your worth to yourself.
What would it do for you?
For me, I was always a fighter, so nothing was ever gonna set me back. It was just a reason to work harder.
And there's tape everywhere too, so players cannot hide their effort, whether it's up or down. Toshier with the throw-in. Tough play here for Danko, just climbing up on the backside of Philip Goodrum. A noticeable size difference here between the two combatants. Goodrum's only 5'11", and Danko tower overing him at 6'1". He's got a couple pounds on him too.
Tough decision there. He does win the ball. He jumps up. Goodrum doesn't necessarily even jump to compete for the header. I think he maybe can feel a little bit hard done by in that call.
Serrano and Davila both on the ball. Davila to the right of Serrano. Let's see who takes this. Serrano with it, bends the ball in, headed away. Good defense by Miami on that occasion. Bonfilio asking for that ball back, and Vasquez pressured into that, but it'll be a goal kick. Chris and I will have first half stats, some highlights, some news and notes, and we'll look at an out-of-town scoreboard as well at the end of 45 minutes to play. Once we reach full time, we'll also have our Cricket Wireless Man of the Match, voted on and selected by Chris and Chris only. Stingy like that.
No pressure.
For Lou City, want to keep themselves in the good graces of the win column and also above Charleston. Those two teams back and forth amongst the top-tiered contenders. And Lambert, again, a second infraction. This one, he's stuck on caution now as he sees yellow.
Yeah, maybe just too many infractions in a short period of time. We saw the free kick he gave away just moments ago. And the referee deems this to be a... Again, it's a harsh free kick because they both go for the ball and both make contact. But now Lambert has to be careful. One of his strengths is putting his foot in and putting in tackles. Now he has to think twice about some of those moments, because one more poorly timed tackle could see him receive his second yellow card and have an early shower.
Bonfiglio was the one down. He's back to his feet. A great sign for Miami FC to see him get back to work.
I think one of the notable changes for Miami FC tonight is the Akinyodi moved back into midfield. He's been a staple at the back for most of the games this year for Miami FC, and tonight he's returned to his more central position, commanding the center of the park in that 6th position.
Yeah, he missed the match recently because of a red card he picked up. But for Bonfiglio, back in his normal spot, accountable as ever, and one of the most reliable players for Gaston Madoni. He has called him the unsung hero of this squad.
I played a long time too, so I understand. Thank you, though. I appreciate you looking out.
This high ball will go out of play. Miami FC and Bolo Akinyodi. Akinyodi making his 19th start of the year for Gaston Madoni. Gaston Madoni would love to have other guys around him that are similar, not only in his size, but also his ability to make such an impact offensively and defensively.
Yeah, and he also talks about him as a person and a character in and around the group off the field. You know, he speaks about how warm he is, his leadership skills, being a great person and a fantastic leader. And I think that's what Akinyodi brings to this team. It's not just his performance on the field and his competitive attitude and his spirit. It's being a good person, being a good leader, and looking after and taking care of his teammates.
Davila here. Man from Sherman Oaks, California. Just a short 15 to 20-minute drive from Westwood and UCLA. Davila towards the back post, just a sea of blue and black. And some heavy contact there again, and Bolo Akinyodi is down on the deck. This will be puzzling and curious to see exactly what our lead official will rule on it.
I think it's Lambert again here making the contact.
That's reckless.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's yellow card reckless, but I would say he's most certainly walking a tightrope. He's making it difficult for the referee with the number of infractions that he's making. I think he really has to be careful, especially just going towards halftime here. Like, probably needs to just hold back, make sure you don't give him any more needless free kicks. It's probably going to start coming into Danny Cruz's mindset of whether he needs to make a change here, because they may end up going down to 10 men. It's not intentional, but just one more poorly timed challenge, and I think the referee may have had enough of that.
Why give him some extra rope in this occasion when you have 3 consecutive fouls in a matter of 2 minutes?
Some players, when you're a tenacious midfielder, no, not pointing any fingers, you know how to play on the edge of a yellow card.
Yeah.
You know, you may make 30 challenges of the game and 3 of them are poorly timed. One of them ends up being a yellow card. Nobody recognizes the 27 that you timed well, but the 3 that were poorly timed, of course, they're the ones that get highlighted the most. So,
fair.
Given the number of games and experience, I'm sure it's not the first time he's going to play with a yellow card for a whole half. He just has to be a little bit smarter in how he goes about his challenges, a little bit more well-timed, know when to pull out, and make sure he doesn't get involved in any dissent or back chat to the referee, and know how to finesse the referee a little bit. The referees generally, they're not out there to send you off, but they want to make sure that you're playing fair, you're competing in a fair manner, and you're being respectful. So if he understands the balance of finessing the referees and being smart with his tackles for the remainder of the game, I wouldn't say he's in a situation where he needs to be removed, but he is walking a tightrope given the number of infractions he's had in such a short period of time.
Nearing the end of the opening half. Kyle Cividans is our 4th official. We'll keep an eye on him. See exactly how much time is awarded. Wilson gave it up. Davila again, nobody home though on this occasion. Here's Felipe Rodriguez. Rodriguez, making his 5th appearance of the season for Miami, has failed to capture a victory so far. 0-2-2, the goals against at $1.75 and the save percentage at .682. Felipe, though, trying to grow into some bigger shoes, led by Bill Hamid, who has been a fantastic acquisition in the offseason for Miami. Bill Hamid, Francisco Bonfiglio, you can pick your poison on who is more important.
I think they're both equally as important on Miami FC's best nights.
Good drum, going for goal! Just misses the hat trick! Oh, he wanted it. Rodriguez full extension. We'll see if he got a piece of it.
Be interesting to see it back. I thought Goodrum just had a little bit more time, or that touch he could have got out his feet to get him a little bit closer to goal before he took the shot. Here's why Lambert stays on, plays the key pass that gives Goodrum this opportunity to get his strike on goal. He was being closed down quickly by 2 defenders, so it probably was the right moment for him to take the strike. Just unable to keep it on target. I think if he picks his side here and slots it rather than going for so much power, I think he has his hat-trick.
Rodriguez did not touch it. So Goodrum just missed picking the corner. Didn't have 5 goals on my bingo card for the opening half in this match, but we're close. 2-2 is the score. Game total in this one from the odds makers in Las Vegas was at 2.5.
It's an interesting dynamic in this game because Miami FC don't necessarily threaten Louisville with balls played in behind or runners in behind. It's more so diagonal balls when they're in a deep block. They've been the threat. So Louisville do have the opportunity to get higher and put pressure on Miami FC higher up the pitch. However, they do like to let their opponents have the balls in those moments, and they feel like when the opponents do have the ball at the back, that's their moment when they can win the ball in transition and turnovers in that moment and create goal scoring opportunities. So they're kind of in a stuck position where they don't necessarily need to protect the space in behind because Miami FC don't have runners that are willing to run in behind right now. Or have shown in the first half they have runners that are really going to exploit them with space in behind. But at the same time, it's not really in their nature to go and press high because they want them to have the ball in that moments and to counter-attack them on the turnovers and then create goal-scoring opportunities in that way. So it's going to be interesting to see what little tweaks and changes are made at half-time for either team to get the upper hand.
Loose City's played with good energy and good pace. No, they haven't been clean. Yes, they've been effective on the offensive side. Philip Goodrum nearly found himself a hat trick in this opening half. But all in all, they've done a lot of good things, but unfortunate for them, they've been leaky, and Miami has been creative offensively.
Yeah, and I think Miami will be the happier team going in at half-time. As you mentioned, missing a couple of big players from their original starting lineup. They're playing against a team that's top of the league. They're a smashed second-place team 4-1, competing against a team that's outside the playoffs. And you're going in at half-time 2-2, having put the ball in the back of the net twice against them. They're starting the game very poorly and giving away 2 opportunities from direct throw-ins. If you take away those throw-ins, most teams don't have the capability of creating goal-scoring opportunities straight from a throw-in. If you take away that capability, Miami FC are 2 up in this game. So they've given away a couple of poor goals, which they're probably going to address going at half-time. I'll be surprised if Louisville are able to score again in the second half from a direct throw-in. So it's going to be interesting. Miami, I think, will feel very enthused about their first half performance and feel that they can probably get a little bit stronger in the second half. As I mentioned, 55, 60 minutes, the starting players start to dwindle a little bit, so the changes and the depth from the bench is probably going to be where we see the biggest impact in the second half.
Short throw in here, Cardona, Bonfilio, just dribbles in on target. He wanted it, but just didn't get velocity on it.
Great ability there, leaping ability from Bonfilio. Gets so high up above everybody, just doesn't get enough power on the ball to test Lass.
Four minutes of added time here in this opening act. It has been good. A lot of activity from both ends, and now our lead official, Rodrigo Albuquerque, going to the far sideline. What's this about? Joseph Jeffers and Juan Pablo are our second and third officials working the boundaries, and our lead officials telling the combatants, just step away for a quick second.
Just catch any Premier League games today? Did you see the 8-second rule being applied? Goalkeepers don't distribute the ball within 8 seconds. It's a corner kick.
I did see that, yes.
So I keep saying this. We keep seeing the 6-second rule that was supposed to be applied. We see goalkeepers hold on to the ball sometimes for 20 seconds. So it's going to be interesting to see if that starts to filter around everywhere and we start to see goalkeepers holding on the ball too long and we start to see corner kicks being given. That's going to be so critical and key in the last stages of games when you're maybe chasing. It's going to be really to see how goalkeepers are able to regulate that internal clock. It's not like basketball where you have the timer there for 8 seconds and you know what's coming. You kind of have to manage that internal clock yourself. So it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these things roll out as the season progresses.
Yeah, similar to American football, you get a play clock and you had that dialed down, or a shot clock in college basketball and in the NBA. But what gives here? Gaston Madoni will go to the middle of the pitch and hear what's going on. This match was perfectly fine in terms of activity, and now all of a sudden we have a discussion going on right now. Kyle Adams and Billo Akinyoti. Admittedly, I'm not good at reading lips. Very strange if there was any kind of activity inside the 18. What happened here? Lost touching Tobias Zarate. I don't see anything there.
Yeah, and I think if the officials are going to stop the play for an extended period, as has been done, then surely there has to be some kind of action that has to be taken. If you're going to stop the play for so long, then something must have happened that requires you to take action, not just have a conversation with the players.
But making contact with Zarate like he did?
No, I didn't see anything there that worried at this extensive time.
Back to our normally scheduled programming. Talk about taking the air out of the balloon. Adams back to Loss. Loss into the middle of the pitch. Knutson. Here's Cardona. Cardona has come on late for Gaston Madoni. He was not in game shape to open up the year. A bit of an injury. Find himself in good footing now, and Cardona has started in 11 the last 15 matches for Miami FC. Goal differential is at -10. Oh, watch out, nearly a step, would have been off to the races. Lucas Milano, who's vying for a brace. Knutson and Milano, the two goal scorers for Miami FC. Philip Goodrum, the one-man party for Lou City. On target. Expected goals for at .85. I don't remember a match in recent weeks that's been that good offensively. Of course, the defense is another question.
Yeah, and Danny Cruz, the percentages right now is 61%, 38%. And Danny Cruz does say his team is at their best, or he feels like they're at their best when they're in around the 40-45%. He doesn't want to be the team that controls possession, but they do have moments when they want to control the tempo of play. So tonight they are itching around that 40% mark, but it hasn't been one of their better performances so far in this first half, I would say.
Bit of a wake-up call. Jones, long ball throw-in. Adams back in. Vasquez trying to get to it. McFadden does. Lou City with one more burst. Ricketts will disrupt it. And that, as they would say, is that. 45 minutes in the books here at Pitbull Stadium. It was entertaining. I don't know if it felt the same for both head coaches, but Chris, all in all, Miami FC on level footing.
Yeah, I think Miami FC are motivated. They know that they need to pick up 3 points. They're outside of the playoffs. They want to get across the playoff line. Louisville City maybe have displayed exactly what they didn't want to. A little bit of complacency, the way they've allowed goals, the way they've approached the game. It's going to be interesting if they're able to find that internal motivation in the second half. I definitely feel that Miami FC will come out motivated to go on and push on a little harder.
Philip Goodrum with the brace in the opening act. Shots were even at 6 apiece. Miami led in possession, 6 shots on goal. End of 45 here in South Florida. Miami and Lou City level at 2 apiece.
The Magic City, sparked by Julia Tuttle's vision and Henry Flagler's railroad expansion. What was once swampland, transformed into a booming city. This is 1896.
It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
This week on USL All Access, the game of the century, or at least this season. 1 versus 2, Louisville versus Charleston, Pierman versus Cruz. Did it live up to the hype? And the new head coach for Las Vegas Lights, Devin Rensing, joins us to break down his roster, saying that that 5-point gap between the bottom of the West and the playoff line is not only well within reach, but they have the postseason in their sights.
Macron halftime report is here with Chris Nurse. I am David Gascon. Lou City with a couple of leads that they have not been able to hold. Miami and Lou City locked up at 2-2 as we take a look now at the Jägermeister Cup quarterfinal action that continues on Wednesday, August the 20th. Got a bunch of teams from USL Championship, but also Greenville, Trump, and Indy 11. That'll be intriguing.
Yeah, it's a tournament. It seemed like Danny Cruz was happy that he didn't have to focus on this and they just had league games left for the remainder of the season. I'm sure he would have liked to be in this with an opportunity to pick up silverware, but they don't, so their focus is strictly on the remaining USL Championship games and the playoffs.
That is all available for you upcoming in a few days from now. Upcoming schedule for Miami. This still does not get any easier. After tonight's match, they have Indy 11 on August the 23rd, and then they go to Loudoun, back home against Hartford. They get to see a lowly Las Vegas side, and then Rhode Island comes to town.
Yeah, there's no easy games because the situation they're sitting in, they're either playing against teams in and around the position that they are in where they need to pick up points, or you're playing against teams top at the table, which is never an easy challenge in itself. So for Miami FC, every game is a big game from now to the end of the season.
How about for Lou City? They got the upcoming schedule. Next 5, they're not in the bag, but they're going to be fun. Home against New Mexico, then at Indy, at Rhode Island, at Pittsburgh. Bob Lilly will have his troops prepared.
Yeah, some tough fixtures in there, but they've given themselves a little bit of breathing space between themselves and Charleston for that #1 position. So they have a little bit of wiggle room to play with, but they're going to need consistency. They're going to need performances. They're going to need bodies back healthy. It's going to be interesting if they can go about picking up some clean sheets shortly.
Mention him when we open up this broadcast tonight. Taylor Davila, player of the week for his performance against Charleston, week 23 matchup. And it was huge. You had the top 2 teams in all of USL Championship going blow for blow, and Lou City continued to deliver haymakers in a 4-1 drubbing.
Yeah, he's so good in possession of the ball, whether it's his ability to create chances for himself, with that ability he has in that left foot to pick passes, his vision, the weight of the pass. He really deserves the opportunity to be in Team of the Week.
Take a look of the Team of the Week. Jansen Wilson, who picked up a brace, Davila as well, and Dani Siaha in between the sticks. No surprises there, but El Paso off the board for at least one weekend. They play to a scoreless draw against Miami FC, so that'll have an influence on that. Luke Spencer is the coach of the week. Speaking of team of the week, we got to get you now to the goals and saves of the week. Fellas, take it away.
Stem some of the tide. Here's Arthur Rogers. Ball to Serrato. Serrato curls! Oh, what a goal from the Brazilian! We're talking about shape of a shot. He tells everybody to calm down.
Hernandez Foster runs up, and the stop made by Hunter Soap.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Prinks tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks tires will be there for the long haul.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
Pound of wood a day. Pound of wood a day.
What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Birmingham Legion, that could be a
to win today to guarantee their place in the next round.
Charging for Louisville. Rhode Island are back on level. T11 take a 1-goal lead.
No one was born a hero. It's an everyday journey. There are no shortcuts, no days off, no perfect scenarios. Things won't always go the way you expect. But overcoming challenges is part of the game too. Your time is now. When passion runs through you, become your own hero.
Back here at Pitbull Stadium with Chris Nurse, I am David Gascon. 2-2 is the score. First of two encounters on the year between these Eastern Conference foes. Miami FC trying to get themselves back in the win column. They are winless in their last 7. As we take a look at some news and notes around the league, plenty of things happening, especially as the time is winding down in the regular season. Sacramento's Davion Kimbrough scored 6 goals for Mexico to claim the Golden Boot at CONCACAF's U15 Championship. And Chris, I saw it on social media, and with everything happening in the Motor City, with everything, the Detroit Red Wings, the Detroit Lions, Detroit City's own team, their soccer club also has a new home, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for Detroit, but also an exciting time for the league. You know, the expansion, the growth of the game, the growth of facilities. Really exciting time for everything progressing forward in USL Championship.
And Danny Trejo also joined Oakland Roots SC via the transfer from Birmingham Legion. So Danny Trejo making himself known on the West Coast. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard now. Charleston and Pittsburgh. It's 2-1 for Charleston. That's in the second half. Anything surprise you?
Charleston did well to come back. They went a goal behind against Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh, who are often very, very hard to score against, especially when they're at home. Tulsa tied against Hartford. At the top there, Loudoun tied against Indy. The Sleeping Giants we spoke about pre-game, Tampa Bay Rowdies. Can they pull off a result a little bit later against Phoenix?
I like what you're talking about with them ripping off a good 4, 5, 6 games. I can see that happening. We'll keep an eye on it. Right now, 2-2. Highlights around the corner.
Magic City, sparked by Julia Tuttle's vision and Henry Flagler's railroad expansion. What was once swampland, transformed into a booming city. This is 1896.
is loaded with over 500 new Kia models in stock now. Test drive a new 25 Kia Sportage today. Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive Doral.
Become your own hero. Bon Bon Boom. Suck at something. Baptist Health. And Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive Doral. Back here at the Macron halftime report. Kids are banging on the drums. And the scorers are banging on the goal. Minutes, and for Lou City, a goal by Goodrum in the 12th and the 23rd minute. So we had 3 goals in a 3-minute span. But Chris, you said an interesting point at the end of the opening half. Gaston Madoni and Miami FC would feel much better through 45 than Danny Cruz and Lou City would.
For sure. They understand where they are in their journey. They understand who they're competing against. You're looking at the fan bases, you're looking at the support, you're looking at the run of form, you're looking at the players. Miami FC will be very happy at being 2-2 at halftime, knowing that they're still in the game and they can go and compete in the second half. For Louisville, it's just a case of, can they psychologically find themselves present? Can they get over last week? Can they get themselves up? Can they get rid of the complacency that maybe they've displayed in the first half? Maybe we see some quick changes, and I think that will be an indicator of how happy Danny Cruz is with that first half.
Couple of changes for Lou City. Arturo Ordonez is going to come into the match. It's the first change made by either side. Danny Cruz does make it. Are you surprised by that move?
I mean, again, you know, we've harped on about the focus of becoming more defensively compact. And that space on the left side in between those centre-backs has been a target. So it's no surprise that he's made a change there, because maybe he's looking at this game, maybe he's looking further down the future. But he wants the defence to be more compact, to give up less goal-scoring opportunities, to have the ability to keep clean sheets. We spoke about Lambert and the yellow card situation. I think that's a pretty straightforward substitution. He didn't want to take the risk, whether that's going down to 10 men today or potentially looking at future and saying they don't want to have a game suspension next week. So he's already take caution with removing Lambert, and defensively,
well played ball, almost got to the mark. Felipe Rodriguez comes out, Evan Davila comes in, Kevin Lambert is out, Sean Tosh is out, and Arturo Ordonez is now in for him. So 2 changes for Danny Cruz, but this is, again, with the roster that they have, they're awfully deep. So these are skilled, talented players that should not have a problem. This one going for a goal, almost found a way in, lost at the last minute, had to be awake.
Yeah, caught last by surprise there. There's probably more of an attempted cross than an attempted shot from here. Last react was definitely not comfortable whatsoever. Milano trying to get second of the night. Would have been some second goal.
That would have been goal of the week contender.
But as we spoke about in the defensive substitution, with defense, it's not always about having your best players.
Zarate here, too strong on this ball. Didn't even give his team a chance.
With defense, it's more about having the best unit, the best cohesion, the best chemistry and understanding. And that isn't not always having the best individual players. So they're clearly still tinkering of what that best defensive unit looks like. They're finding a way to win games. Yes, they're finding a way to be effective in terms of goal scoring and transition play and turning transition into goal scoring opportunities. But they haven't quite yet found the formula of having complete defensively dominant performances where opponents get very few opportunities on goal, or as 13,000 in a top of the table clash, as you do in front of 100 playing against clash, as you do in front of 100 playing against a team that's outside of the playoffs. But they've got to find a way to get the job done, because that's just how top teams find a way to even win games, and Louisville have been that team who find a way to win games.
Whipped it for Bonfilio. He hit that ball, nicely played through to him, but the header just skirts off the mark.
We've seen them a number of times, even when they're not in their best games, they still find a way to pick up points, so they find a way to win the game. And today's going to be one of those affairs for Louisville City. For Miami FC, can they push on in the second half? You know, you're doing fantastically well at home. You're making life difficult for Louisville. You got yourself on the score sheet twice. You need the 3 points to bounce forward. Can you keep that positive mindset and go on and try and steal a winning goal and get the go-ahead lead?
What do you think the message is from Gaston Madoni to his team here in the second half?
I think he has to keep pumping them full of confidence. Obviously, there's a defensive change, so what may have worked in the first half may not continue to work now in the second half. So they have to play with it a little bit. They have to test it and see where the weaknesses and the gaps are and the holes are that they can exploit.
Out wide, Dia. It's the middle of the park, and then Rodriguez will be there.
I think first and foremost, stops conceding scoring opportunities from throw-ins. That's got to be the first thing that he would address at half-time.
Yes.
Goodrim's been the target on 2 occasions. Straightforward. Make sure that you get yourself in between the throw and Goodrim, and you win first contact of the ball when it comes into the box. You won't concede from a throw in the second half.
For Miami FC, playing this match on home soil against Lou City is paramount to get points out of. And the biggest reason for that is not only to stop the bleeding, they're winless in their last 7, but you look at the teams that are above them in the Eastern Conference standings, clubs like Hartford and Detroit, Loudoun, North Carolina, Charleston Battery. There's a handful of those teams that own the tiebreaker against Miami. And so it's critical for Miami, at the very least, if they can get a win here tonight against Lou City, even if they play and lose at Lou City in Kentucky, you split the season series, you give yourself a chance against these other clubs though, and all of a sudden you go from having points here, points there, to getting 3 and then owning some kind of tiebreaker against someone amongst the top 8 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, and if you look at the teams around them, Hartford are in a strange moment where they're starting to pick up momentum and picking up points and performances and playing, and well, in and around them, you look at Rhode Island, this is a team who went to the finals last year. Did they stay in their current situation, or did they find a little bit of momentum towards the end of the season also and push themselves into the playoffs? So when you're looking at who goes in and who goes out of the playoffs, it's extremely hard to predict who may find themselves in and who may find themselves out. Everybody seems to throw a little up with the pack, minimum.
Serrano here on the corner kick for Lou City. It'll be their first one of the second half.
A 3-game stretch where you win 3 games on the bounce, and it completely changes the outlook for any team that's on the fringes of the playoff right now. Even for Tampa Bay, who are currently rock bottom, they were to pick up 9 points in 3 games. That puts them up to 26 points, and they're now sitting 5th or 6th. So things can change extremely quickly. You have to make sure that you're staying ahead of the pack.
Serrano here. Serrano, high ball, goes the opposite side of the pitch. McFadden flagging it down. McFadden tries his own attempt, and there is Jonathan Ricketts to evict this ball. It'll be a throw-in for Lou City. I think, and just my personal opinion, I think at the end of the year, Tampa Bay will have at least 35 points.
I think they have to. Such a big organization, such a big fan base, such a storied history of making the playoffs and competing so well. If they don't creep into the playoffs at the minimum, it will be an absolutely catastrophic year for Tampa Bay Rowdy. So nobody expects them to be where they are right now, and I don't think we expect them to finish where they are right now. But only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, the one element to their game is it's not a roster full of scrubs.
Yeah,
they have good talent.
For sure.
So they're not lacking in the ammunition category, but it's about putting those pieces together. Of course, you also got to have runway. And you look at the schedule and what's left on the table for them, they are definitely running out of time to get themselves above the playoff line and make themselves a legitimate threat in the Eastern Conference.
Yep, and you can't just blame the coaching staff or any of those aspects, because it's very simple. If the players don't get amongst themselves and figure it out, there's going to be changes at the end of the season. It doesn't matter how storied you are or you're impacted in the team over the years. The game has no loyalty. So the players have to take it on themselves to be like, look, if we don't take responsibility for this ourselves, there's going to be changes that we're not going to be in control of. So they have to figure it out pretty quickly if they want to maintain their status where they are. If they want new opportunities in the league, they're going to have to figure out themselves also. It's not just going to be on the coaching staff.
Milano on the run here. Milano, who got it over the top, tough ball for Zarate. He's fortunate enough on this surface not to tear a groin. Milano.
And I think that's also the same for this Miami FC team. The objective is minimum to make the playoffs.
Akinyoti for Bonfilio. Bonfilio waiting, setting it up. Zarate had a golden mark and just elevated that ball, and it goes wide.
It's good build-up play here from Miami FC. Patience. Bonfilio gets this ball in behind, and Akinyoti here picks the pass. Great delivery, great run from Bonfilio. Just patience, picks the right pass at the right moment. I think it's good defending there from Adams. In the end, it gets the deflection that sends it over, but great play from Bonfilio. Just takes his time here, waits for the moment, picks the right pass. I think Zarate actually hammers this one over without anybody getting a touch in it. Brilliant opportunity there for Miami to take the lead.
Missed the target by 15 feet, and you're only a couple feet away from the net.
It all starts with Akinyoti's ball in behind and Bonfilio's run. The connection, the recognition of the cues between the two of them, fantastic chemistry.
Danny Cruz and Lou City have been a juggernaut this year.
Frustration. You can see frustration. How can you go from being as good as you were last week to being a little flat in their performance today? It's a really frustrating situation for your coach to be in, for the coach to be in. But as I said, it's a situation that happens so frequently. Sometimes you just have to take it on the chin and try to navigate, okay, irrespective of the frustration, how do we find a way to walk away with 3 points tonight? Or maybe even to just be content. Listen, it could have been worse for us and we could have left with a loss. So maybe, how do we find a way to ensure we don't lose and we leave it with a point at least?
Danko here, spotting off, and Felipe Rodriguez comes out. Lou City has not played bad football tonight.
No,
they've just been playing okay, and it's kept Miami in this match.
Yeah, and you know, you look at the table and you come away with the expectancy, oh, you probably look and be like, oh, this should be a 3-0 or 4-0. And it never works that way, unfortunately. The game has to be played on the field, not based upon the standings or based upon paper. And as we spoke about, Miami FC this season have been a lot more difficult to play against than in previous seasons.
Ricketts on the run here. He earns himself and the team a corner kick. This can prove to be dangerous. Good run for Ricketts, and Damian Loss looking on. Loss has been victimized twice in this match. On two exquisites will take this corner for Miami. Vasquez leads the team this year in assists with 3. Vasquez bends this ball away. Had a couple guys that were available, but the ball was just a little too hot on the charge. Goodrum trying to counter, had that ball poked away by Romero. Matias then gets ditched by Goodrum. Goodrum tripped up. Cardona got a piece of him. Goodrum's actually asking our lead official, Rodrigo Albuquerque, for a whistle and a foul. Did not occur. Goodrum came into this match with a team leading 10 goals. He has built on that. Check. He now has 12 leading the league. Taylor Davila came into this match team leading 6 helpers on the year. Davila's played well, but he's not on the score sheet. It's been Goodrum. Josh Jones had the assist on the second goal for Philip Goodrum. Miami getting contributions from Lucas Milano and Dalton Knutson. A rare sight to see, but Francisco Bonfiglio will take it. This one pegged in, and it goes to Felipe Rodriguez. Rodriguez hasn't been tested a lot tonight. He's faced 7 shots, 4 of them on target. But he hasn't been under the kind of duress that he has been in recent weeks when he has subbed in for Bill Hamid.
Yeah, Louisville have normally found a way of varying their opportunities at goal, where it's been sometimes building through the thirds. Sometimes it's just been direct balls from the back, flick-ons, runs in behind, and good finishing. Outside of the throwing opportunities, there's not been too much. I think Goodrum had a really good chance. We spoke about some of the wing play, and Dia potentially trying to get a little bit wider and a little bit higher. McFadden a little bit higher and wider. They're operating with their regular back 3 that they have right now. Adams on the left. Looks like Ordonez now playing as the center point, and Jones shifted across to the right.
Get a good look at Gaston Madoni. The Argentine, as you thought Lionel Messi was the only Argentine in town in Miami. Miami FC sporting 9 players that are from Argentina. So you bring that kind of culture, that kind of style, that kind of play here to the United States. And the payoffs have happened. They've happened in spurts. But for Gaston Madoni, you'd like to see a lot more of that. And it's just going to take him some time.
Yeah, and if you look deeper in the roots of Miami FC, they have been building the academy system a little bit stronger with USL Academy, USL 2, a number of youth teams that they've implemented this season that maybe were not so prevalent or even in existence at all in previous years. So I think there is a plan to implement younger players over time. As we mentioned, this is one of the older age groups, or teams with the average oldest age group in the USL Championship. So if they don't make the playoffs, you'd envision some of those older players will be replaced by younger legs who maybe have more longevity in the game and a brighter future, whether that's for performing for Miami FC themselves or with potential resale value. We know that the business aspect of the game also comes into play. So it's going to be interesting to see if they don't accomplish their objective of making the playoffs, what changes are made. Even if they do accomplish the objective of making the playoffs, it wasn't in a very comfortable fashion where they're in first or second or competing for a home position. So you envision, even in that aspect, there's still going to be changes going into the following year. So there's a lot at stake for the players right now, which is why I think that performances will continue to increase towards the end of the season, knowing that some of them, maybe a lot of them, are going to be playing for their futures.
This one played through it. Nice play by Dalton Knutson to get out of harm's way for a moment, turning around, trying to look for a shot. Serrano, but he had that ripped away by Bolo Akinyoti.
Great defending there from Akinyoti. Some good footwork from Serrano, controlling the ball and turning in tight spaces, but Akinyoti timed his interception to perfection, relieving the danger from Miami FC.
Miami's average age on this roster is nearly 29. Now, granted, you're a little bit older with Sebastian Blanco, that's 36. Bill Hamid's 34. But to your point, Chris, if it doesn't work with the veterans, got to recalibrate with some of the younger players. They do have a good mixture, though, of older, younger, and some in between.
Yeah, I think Bonfiglio is 23. You know, he's a player that's producing right now, but you can envision he will continue to get better as he continues to perform in the league also. It's going to be whether they can continue to hold on to him. Proving himself to be one of the league's hottest commodities in front of goal. So, yes, you may want to keep him performing for you, but I imagine a number of teams will also be trying to bang on the door to Teebsy and tempt him away to some of the teams that are competing for the top spots. So that's always a challenge for teams too, is that your best players, the other teams want them also. So it's a really hard conundrum to be in.
Of course, you want to be a model of consistency like Lou City, a club that was making the Eastern Conference Final on a regular occasion. 9 straight years you talk about them, just contender after contender, but that's a winning culture. That's not just about the players that are on the roster today, but the academy team, and obviously coaching, scouting, and developing too.
And you also look at, like, your top players want to play in front of big crowds in big atmospheres on a consistent basis. Bonfiglio, you'd put into that category. He doesn't want to play maybe in front of 100 fans. He wants to play in front of 10,000 fans in the type of atmosphere that you would find in Louisville. So that's also something that you have to factor into consideration when you're trying to maintain or recruit players. Is they also take these things into consideration. It's part of the driving factor, the motivation, the atmosphere, the energy. They want that spike in every game. So there's a lot of things to factor in when you're trying to recruit top players and hold on to your best players at the same time.
All 4 goals are scored in the opening half. We're now 2/3 of the way through, and we haven't had as much excitement in this half as we did in the opening half. Pace has been fine. I think it's just a little bit different. Davila fended over to the right-hand side. Man available, and they score! Fist pumping for Aiden McFadden on the weak-hand side. Lou City recaptures the lead.
And if there was any question marks why he was in Team of the Week, I think this answers all of them. Look at the pass that he picks out. He finds the player in space in a crowded box where everybody's recovering under pressure. He finds the player in space with a perfect ball into his run, takes a touch and buries it into the side netting with composure, giving Louisville City the lead once again. We spoke about them not essentially being at their best tonight. Great finish from McFadden. But can they find a way to recalibrate and potentially find a way to get 3 points? And I think that's what Danny Cruz maybe was able to instill at half-time. He did tweak a couple of things. He made a couple of changes. You can see he's not overly enthused with the performance tonight, but can they still find a way to walk out winners?
Part of the reason why Taylor Davila is so skilled is his vision on the pitch. Seeing himself goal for goal or setting up his teammates. 7 assists now on the year after he sets up McFadden there with his 2nd goal of the campaign, and Lou City up 3-2.
Yeah, and players with the skill set of Davila are really hard to find, but it's the pass appreciation. Delivers that ball in what he needs to do. Take a touch and find the corner of the goal. And so many times, it's almost like the pass that Davila plays speaks a language to you and already lets you know what you need to do next with it. And that's the quality that he has. He makes the game easier for his teammates with his quality of passing and his weight of pass.
Got a player down for Lou City as we'll take a peek at it. This is about uncomfortable a setting as it can be. Looks like it's Ray Serrano, and it is. Serrano is in some considerable pain.
It's not a head injury, though.
Well.
He's stopping the game, it's not a head injury.
Well.
Leaving it all on the line for his team. Give him credit.
Wearing it, as they would say. Serrano down. Lou City up 3-2. Gaston Madoni pacing the sidelines. His team was down twice, 1-0 and 2-1. They go to Indy 11 next week on August the 23rd. And for Lou City, they want to put this thing to bed. They have New Mexico on tap. And for a club that has only lost once this year, they don't want to falter to a Miami side that they have owned all time. 5 victories and 2 defeats. In fact, the last time Miami did beat Lou City, you have to go back to September the 20th of 2023 as a 4-3 victory. So if you look at the score right now, Miami's maybe in a setting where you can duplicate that effort. Of course, you would need back-to-back goals. Last year, Lou City swept the season series. Sean Tosh and Philip Goodrum and Ray Serrano all scored in that one-sided contest to close out the year, but Lou City has controlled a lot of the all-time matchups between these two sides. Serrano is back to his feet, and we play on. Had a hydration break in the opening half, then 4 minutes of stoppage time. Added 4 goals in between all that. Romero tried to win it, could not. Bonfilio with a toe tap, got it over to Vasquez. Nice effort by Bonfilio. Romero, Bolo Akinyote.
And it's so key because when you're coaching, the key moments that players have to focus on is the 5 minutes after you score a goal.
Going for goal, lost with an easy stop there against Jonathan Ricketts, who wanted more from it.
The first 5 minutes after you score is when the team has to be focused and concentrated and stay tight and compact so that the opponents aren't able to retaliate or respond straight away. And we've seen in the first half, almost every time there was a goal, there was almost a counter goal almost immediately. This has been the first time, maybe the second time, where there's been a goal-ahead goal and the game's actually settled down and there's not been an immediate reaction or retaliation straight away. So you can see that sense of focus this time. Louisville have got the goal and they've settled down.
Possession will go back to Miami as Christian Vasquez is down, slowly getting back to his feet.
This is the time in the game when you probably expect to see another couple of changes railing in. Of course, Louisville probably have a little bit more depth in their bench when you look at some of the names: Ownby, Morris, McCabe, Gleedle, Days. Some players who you could argue are competing for starting positions. As you mentioned, Miami C also have Metrano back available for selection tonight. A number of players who can also come. Gavilanes.
Akinyoni in a troubling spot. Danko back to Felipe Rodriguez. Lou City applying some high heat. Cardona here. Lou City wanted to establish themselves as a superior team tonight early. They did that with a goal in the 12th minute, but they've been back and forth with Miami, and they have the lead here in the second half thanks to an Aiden McFadden goal. Questionable challenge there as Vasquez having some choice words delivered to him. Ricketts out wide. Ricketts sandwiched between two Lou City players, and he gave it away.
The Louisville bench not happy with that challenge whatsoever.
Serrano was the victim. He's back. Cardona. Vasquez. And here's Romero. I mean, looking for some separation on the top of the board, and now we have a whistle blown. And Rodrigo Albuquerque, our lead official, is going near the boundary. Tobias Zarate, who's on the deck right now.
Again, it's not a head injury, so I'm not quite sure why the referee is stopping the game for. Unless maybe it is a. We'll see shortly. But the frustration is, if you're the coach and the referee blows the whistle in this situation, say you're Louisville City right now and one of your players goes down with cramp, or whatever the injury is, in the same way in the dying stages of the game, and the referee doesn't blow the whistle, because the advantage for the team here is having the stoppage. If Louisville go down in the final stages, it's not a head injury, the referee doesn't blow the whistle, it allows players to continue. Despite it being a completely different moment, it's still an extremely unfair advantage. The rules are, if it's not a head injury, you don't stop the game. So now you put the referee in a situation, like, where does the discrepancy, where do you draw the line? How are you going to apply that equally to both teams? Are you going to stop the game like this for every injury, or are you actually going to play it and stop the games only for serious head or for head injuries? It makes the game so grey in terms of when and where the stoppage is going to be given for fouls.
A questionable whistle happened in the first half when Damian Loss had made a stop and then made a little bit of contact with Christian Vasquez as he was near the top of the box, but the game stopped for 3 minutes.
Yeah, and of course this isn't an advantage to Miami because they're losing the game. But it's just having clarity on when are you going to stop the game? A player is down, you're going to stop the game, or is it only on head injuries? Because we know that players go down certain times in games, especially towards the end of the games. Sportsmanship, slow down the game, slow down the momentum. And I think that's why the rule was brought in about head injuries only, to kind of eradicate that, to stop players from going down, to stop the clock in those moments. But if the referees still allow those stoppages for those moments, then of course players are going to take advantage of that and try to milk it as much as they can.
Alan Gavilanes will come in for Tobias Zarate, so his day is over with. This match is start up for another couple of minutes. Just slows down the flow of this match. It's been a war there. Miami looking for their third equalizer tonight. Miami is hurting though. Their last 7 matches, they're 0-3-4. The last time they won a match, you have to go all the way back to June 18th when they beat Charleston Battery right here at Pitbull Stadium 1-0. But that's been it. It was a good run for Miami in the middle portion of the year, but they've been derailed and they must recover now.
Yeah, and we spoke about one of the keys of the game being service to Bonfiglio. He hasn't had, they've got themselves on the score sheet twice tonight, and it's been good goals, but the service to Bonfiglio for goal scoring opportunities tonight has been poor or next to non-existent. There's not been a delivery that's allowed him to get into dangerous areas to get shots on goal. He's, again, created a couple of of something out of nothing. The one around the edge of the box where he takes a touch and gets the shot off with his left foot. The run in behind where he lays it off for Zarate. But there's been no
connection. Alan Gavilanes, who just checked into the affair. Yeah, Miami's recent run, they played to a scoreless draw with El Paso last week. A couple days prior, losing at Hartford 2-0. They picked up a point at Pittsburgh, but for head coach Gaston Madoni, they felt like they ran into some bad luck there. They gave up an equalizer in the 95th minute. The match they led 1-0 in the 83rd, thanks to Bonfiglio. Whether the unluckiness is true or not, Miami still has to find that clutch gene to get themselves over the top.
I'm not sure I'd use the word unlucky. If you look at the standings on the table, it's often a reflection of who you've been consistently over the duration of the season. So I think it's Miami FC being who they are in this moment in time. I think they could need to continue to improve and find the best version of themselves, but I think it's more inconsistency more so than unlucky. Again, tonight they've given away 2 goals, 2 out of the 3 goals from throw-ins where the marking was just atrocious. You can't even describe it. The defending's on the wrong side of the ball. The defender isn't between the ball and the player, and Goodrum's had the run in to get strikes off on goal from a direct throw-in on 2 occasions. That's not unlucky, that's just poor defending.
Gavilanes with the chip. Jones gave it right back though. Cardona was open on the right-hand side. He finally has it. Cardona whips this ball in with good pace, but Jones was there. Lou City trying to keep this ball inbounds. They do, but it's right back to Miami. Miami has had fortunate opportunities to pounce on the opposition and prevail earlier in the year, but now not so much.
And as you can see, Miami, right now the tempo of the game plays into the hands.
This one played through into the box for Milano. Milano settles it. Milano out wide. This one played through. The header was missed. Gavilanes! Oh, the rebound just misses.
Great opportunity there for Gavilanes to get himself on the score sheet, but I think it's some brave defending that keeps him off. Dangerous delivery into the box. It's Jones here who gets the last second touch on the ball that stops Miami FC again, bringing this game equal. Brilliant defending there from Jones. What a block.
Damian Loss getting aided by his defense tonight. Francesco Celeste comes in for Nicholas Cardona. 22 in, 4 out. But a Miami corner here. Celeste will take this corner. Celeste, line drive delivery. Jones didn't put that ball in a good spot. Miami will hold possession. Romero.
No foul, no foul. Good. Get there, Dobby, yes. Second movement, Danny.
Romero gets it back. The give and go action, poorly played. And here's Philip Goodrum. Goodrum with the chip. Davila could not get to it. Expected goals for is nearly even. 1.15 for Miami. Lou City at 1.6. Shots favoring Miami, 10-7. Miami has 7 shots on goal to 4 for Lou City. But Lou City, the 1 shot here in the second half. Aiden McFadden's goal.
Yeah, and we've spoken about it. The opportunities that Louisville have given up against a better opponent. You could argue maybe they wouldn't give those opportunities up against a better opponent, but they've been giving up too many opportunities to Miami FC, who are the second to lowest scoring team in the USL Championship. The focus, the concentration, the consistency, they have to reduce that as the season goes on, so that as they get towards the playoffs, they're really limiting a number of chances that opponents get against them.
Celeste puts this ball into a dangerous spot near the top of the 18. Teammate couldn't pick it up. Romero. Miami asking questions here. Towards the back post, that headed around.
Yeah, probably just need some fresh legs in that midfield area. You're seeing in and around the 18-yard box, that central area. Miami FC able to pick up the ball and have a lot of time to face forward and pick their passes forward. With quality deliveries, they're really going to continue to put Louisville City under pressure. So they probably just need some legs in the middle of the park who are able to close down, keep the lines compact, put a little bit more pressure on the ball and make it tougher for Miami FC to deliver the ball forward with quality.
Charleston took care of Pittsburgh tonight in full time, 2-1. Loudoun came from behind to beat Indy 11. That helps Miami FC. Hartford and FC Tulsa, they reached full time. It was 1-1.
Ready for the movement.
Later on today, you'll get Phoenix and Tampa Bay.
So good balling behind there from Akinyodi. Just being patient, trying to bring that line of Louisville City a little bit higher and then play the balls in behind them. A little bit of a different approach to what they had in the first half.
For the 5 goals scored in the opening half, Miami hoping they get an equalizer for the 3rd time tonight. Celeste, good ball, just missed Knutson.
Good defensive header there from Adams.
Knutson maybe a bit off guard with that ball. It was good velocity on it, but could not elevate to head it in. Possession's been favoring Miami tonight, 64% to 36 loss here. But Miami should not be worrying about possession, just more along the lines of how to create and get more shots on goal. Lost, nearly slipped. That could be the game.
Talk about something from nothing. A moment of magic from Wilson, completely unexpected, maybe 27 yards out here when he strikes his ball. Davila, again, the player who provides the assist, but just picks his head up, Ciro Rodriguez's position, and just smashes it from distance. Finds its way into the back of the net. As we spoke about, it's not been the best performance from Louisville, but again, they find a way to win the game, and again, they've got themselves 4 goals on the score sheet tonight.
Stash game's been strong for Lou City tonight. Wilson on the board in the 80th.
We were just speaking about how the shot statistics are actually favoring Miami FC, but the scoreline is really what matters the most.
Yeah.
4 in the back of the net for Louisville City. As I said, the only area they'll be concerned with is the 2 conceded. The one area where they really need to tighten up.
Banger of a goal from Wilson. That thing was a direct shot, and Felipe Rodriguez had no chance. Simply overpowered, and Wilson getting himself on the board. 6 goals now on the season for him. Lou City pulling away. 2 goals here in the second half. A couple more changes for Danny Cruz. So normalcy has returned for the top team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they knew it wasn't going to be an easy place to come and play, but they found a way to come here and get themselves 3 points irrespective. In a day where they're not necessarily performing their best or having their best game, they found a way to come out and pick up the points. The area of concern for Miami FC is when Davila does find Wilson in this area, there's just no one in the center of the park to close down Wilson or put him under pressure. He has the time to receive the ball, he has the time to get it out his feet, and he has the time to get the shot off without anybody closing him down. And evidently, players who have quality at this level are going to be able to punish you in those moments, whether it's Davila being able to feed the pass under no pressure or Wilson being able to take the strike with no pressure. Players with quality make the difference in the attacking third. And we've seen that a few times for Louisville in the attacking third, the players with quality having the ability to make the difference.
Doral Kia is loaded with over 500 new Kia models in stock now. Test drive a new 25 Kia Sportage today. Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive Doral.
Couple changes for Miami FC.
Of course, it's a really spontaneous time to have a hydration break, right? Just 8 minutes left of regulation time. Normally see that in and around the 72nd minute, normally bang on center of the second half.
Just a weird way that this match has been controlled.
Officiated.
Yeah.
Not pointing the fingers, but just it's been a decent game on the whole. There's just been a couple of moments that raise questions in terms of consistency of decision making and moments throughout the game that maybe confuse everybody a little bit.
Brian Ownby comes into the match for Lou City. Ricardo Rivera in for Miami FC. Down a couple goals now. This could change quickly, though. Ball pushed away, though, from Bonfiglio.
Davila there making an interception on the edge of the box just as Bonfiglio was trying to work the ball to get out his feet to get his strike off.
Makinyoti couldn't make the touch. Knutson here. Milano's day is over with. He departs with the goal, but his team trailing by a couple. Romero softly played through and lost Soskaya for that ball.
Don't be surprised to see Davila's name in Team of the Week again. He's 2 assists today so far, at least.
Yeah, Davila assisting on the Wilson goal, assisting on the McFadden goal. The McFadden goal was the go-ahead marker in the 63rd minute. Prior to that, Lou City did not have a single shot in half number 2. But a quick transition moment. Davila to McFadden, and then Wilson with a potential knockout below. This team, Lou City, is deep. They're tenacious. They're skilled. They're well coached. And as you said at the Open, Chris, they're a team that is on a mission after what happened last year in the postseason.
And a team that is only getting stronger because they're already in a great position, and the refinements that they have to make is just fine tweaking. Danny Cruz spoke about being stronger in attacking set pieces. Just fine tweaking things as they get towards the end of the season. Winning games, but can you win games and keep clean sheets? Fine tweaking. And then getting players back healthy from injury. These are just minor adjustments that they're going to continue to make towards the end of the season. That's going to help them to get even stronger than where they are right now. And if they're able to accomplish that, I really think they're a team that it's going to be very difficult to stop them. We thought that Charleston would have given them a tougher run for their money. They blasted Charleston out the park last week when they came head-to-head. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can really accomplish those fine tweaks that they're trying to make in the going stages. And I'm pretty confident if they do, they'll go all the way.
Which teams match up well against Lou City in the East?
Early in the season, you might have said Loudoun. Then they found a way to blow Loudoun. There's not many teams that really have the depth and the consistency and the different resources and the ability to approach games differently than they have so far this season. I think there's teams that make it difficult for them, but I think they're just so adaptable. They have so much consistency and a mindset. It's really challenging to see which team does give them the most problems. You would say Charleston, but based upon last week's result, kind of threw that one into jeopardy also.
A 4-1 beatdown last week. Lou City back at home in the great state of Kentucky against New Mexico on the 23rd. For Miami, they'll get on a bird and head a little bit further north to Indianapolis. They have Indy 11 on deck. For Miami FC, conceding 4 goals tonight, and they are in a world of hurt. Romero, back post for Bonfiglio, a little bit too tall again. Take a look at the real-time stand. Now, this is not the real-time standings with everyone else playing later on tonight as well, but for Lou City, they win here tonight, which they're on pace to do, 47 points. All of 1 loss. It's hard to fathom.
Yeah, exactly. That's the stat that you look at there stands out the most. Goal differential, excellent. Right now, the most points, that's needless to say, but just 1 loss over the course of the season. That's really, really exceptionally impressive. Not just from a stat point, but from a mentality standpoint, that every player in this group has a mindset where if they don't win the game, they for sure don't lose. Only 1 time losing so far in the USL Championship is very impressive.
Don't see Miami on there. If they lose here tonight, across all competitions, they'll be winless in their last 10. bottom portion of the standings in Miami, not in an enviable spot.
But you still see just one win gets them into the playoff position. So irrespective of what happens here tonight, they're still very much in and amongst it for the remainder of the season. I think they will stay there in amongst it for the remainder of the season. Even the bottom team, Tampa Bay Rowdies, are still in and amongst it. So every team up until the last maybe 3 games, I say, is going to have an opportunity of competing for the playoffs. So there's going to be everything on the line in every game.
Gaston Madoni likes this team. Felt like this team was good enough to make the postseason out as it was constructed, but things have not been the same to what his liking has been. And right now they're in danger of falling to 0-6-4 in their last 10 across all competitions. You want to include the Jägermeister Cup, that's exactly what it is. Bonfiglio. Romero. His turn to serve it up. The header softly played through by Michael Lawrence.
And you also add in that, as Danny Cruz alluded, middle of the season, so many fixtures, midweek, weekend. Now they're able to just focus on the championship. You know, most of the games will be Saturday to Saturday. They're going to have the chance to properly periodize their week, plans their weeks, recover players during the week, focus on each opponent in preparation for games. So again, having just that single game focus or that single league focus for the remainder of the season, you can only envision that's going to allow them to also get a little bit stronger in the remaining phase of the competitions.
Evan! Huh? Yeah. 9-11. We need fucking more. We need more.
Another change coming up. Niall McCabe will be checking in this match.
You can hear it from Danny Cruz. 4-2 up, away from home in Miami, 89th minute, and he's telling his team that they need more. There's no resting. It's relentless mentality, relentless pressure, a relentless work ethic up until the final whistle.
Relegation on the horizon. It's part of the emphasis with Danny Cruz to make sure that his club is playing a full 90 minutes. It doesn't matter who's starting and who's ending because we have 7 minutes of stoppage time.
I don't think he's making any changes to relegation. I just think that's just who he is. That's just the way he trains. That's the way he was as a player. That's the way he is as a coach. Every day, every game, and every moment, you give your maximum effort. You give your maximum performance. You give your maximum intensity. You prepare the best for every moment, every day. You prepare every game like it's your last game. I think that's just the mentality that he drives into his players, into his team on a consistent basis. That's the mentality that he wants to recruit, and that's the mentality that he wants his team to display.
And it's a perfect form of loyalty. When you see players that sell out for the coach, for the organization, for the community, that's loyalty. And of course, you're playing for a paycheck too.
Yeah, but it's also a very hard characteristic to find in players. Yes, all athletes, they're all athletes and competitors, but it's very rare to find players who have that DNA in them where that's how they approach every training session, every game, every practice, week after week, month after month, year after year. It's a really unique quality to find in athletes.
Celeste just gave it right back. No purpose with that ball. Bonfiglio takes a death stare at him. When you get into modes like this with Lou City where they're functioning on all cylinders, there's 2 things that you're worried about as a coach and even as a fan. One is complacency from your club, and the other is durability, because it's not how hot you start, but it's how well you finish. And to your point, Chris, you're always about those teams that capture the Players' Shield that deserve the trophy at the end of the year, and it's not always the case, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think one of the driving factors is who's sitting on the bench ready to replace you. You know, if there's somebody like for like on the bench where if you're not performing well, they can come in and do as good a job, if not better. You're self-driven to make sure you're performing to the best of your ability, knowing that somebody can replace you. The teams that maybe lack having that depth on the bench, and you look across, there's nobody really on there that's going to be able to go and do the job or better. That's where the complacency, the lack of pushing or intensity can sometimes drip into teams. So that's why having depth in the roster and having 2 players like for like who can really go out there and compete really does allow players, the environment, the mentality, the everyday intensity to be there on a consistent basis.
Also makes it fun too, right? I mean, it's work, but you're going there with your brothers and you're putting in the time and effort.
Whoa, brothers. It's a very, very delicate word to use in a team environment, because as much as it is a team sport, you're competing as an individual. You know, we might be teammates, but we're competing against each other every day in practice. I'm going out to my position, you're going to earn yours. So it's a very delicate relationship between players and their colleagues in the training environment. It's really delicate, but the competition is a driver that can't be underestimated.
But ultimately, it's a unit, right? You can't go without having everybody on that same synchronized sequence moving at the same rate.
For the objective to win.
Yeah.
But you know that if you have 24 players, only 11 start.
Yeah.
So you know that, yeah, we are teammates, but the second training begins or the second games begin, there may be an objective where we may be enemies in a portion of training.
Sure.
So you have to also have that competitive mindset and not get too carried away with the camaraderie aspect. You're not there to make friends. You're there to perform, to get minutes and to win.
2 goals in the second half for Lou City have given them a comfortable advantage. McCabe on this free kick from a peculiar angle. Time winding down in this match. Miami FC down 1-0 and 2-1. Lou City able to flex their steel and their might. McCabe, good delivery, line drive, but it goes over a couple of his teammates' heads. Miami FC trying to switch the pitch and get themselves back on the board. Lawrence couldn't settle it. Lou City unbeaten their last 7, on the verge of being unbeaten in 8 straight. This is an organization that was bounced out of the postseason, the Eastern Conference semifinals last year by Rhode Island. They lost 3-0. They won 16 matches at home out of a possible 17. And this year they protected home solo fantastically as well, 8-0-2.
This would be a 3rd game on the spin where Louisville City would have scored 4 goals. 4-2 against Miami FC tonight, if this result stays it is. 4-1 against Charleston, 4-1 against North Carolina. Would have scored 12 goals in 3 games, conceding 4.
2 players jostling for it. And that'll go back to Lou City.
Offensively, pretty impressive for Louisville City. You can't knock the way they're performing in terms of goals scored.
Not doing it with the same personnel from last year. Last year they had 8 guys score 5 or more goals. To their credit, they've reshuffled some things, even losing Wilson Harris and Elijah Winder. But they've been in fine form, and for Danny Cruz, they have not missed a beat.
Yeah, and you look at Ombi coming into the game, that he's a player can have a big impact, whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench. Leadership, experience. He knows this organization, this team, what's demanded like the back of his hand. He's definitely going to be an addition that strengthens them going into this final stretch of the season. Definitely a plus.
Wow, Rodrigo Albuquerque is trying to talk to Francesco Celeste here in the closing seconds of a match, and Celeste wants none of that business. McCabe down, grabbing his left calf. Lou City went back-to-back in 2017 and 2018. They've been a runner-up in the Eastern Conference. They've had 4 conference titles. They want a whole lot more this year. And they're on the verge of capturing their 14th W of the season. When this night closes out, they'll be 14-1-5.
Yeah, I think, you know, a team that's just lost 1 game all season is pretty impressive.
Knutson out to Romero. Final seconds here. Knutson, a decent ball into the box, volleyed around. Bicycle attempt was missed, and that will do it. Lou City continues to forge on. It does not matter who's in their way. They are a rolling bowling ball, and they run over Miami tonight. Didn't play their A game in the opening half. They recalibrated, and Danny Cruz pushed all the right buttons 2 goals in the second half. Aiden McFadden, the game-winning goal, and they win it 4-2. Time for our Cricket Wireless Man of the Match, Dalton Knutson on the home side for Miami.
Yeah, unsuspecting goal scorer, but as you mentioned a number of times this season, he's been able to come up big on set pieces and get himself on the score sheet as he does again tonight. Knutson, today's man of the match.
Congratulations to Dalton Knutson, his 3rd goal of the season in a losing cause. He is our Cricket Wireless Man of the Match. For Miami FC, they're now winless in their last 10 across all competitions, and they fall now to 5-10-5 on the season, but Lou City presses on, 47 points. Post-game show coming up next.
Kia is loaded with over 500 new Kia models in stock now. Test drive a new 25 Kia Sportage today. Doral Kia. Drive for less. Drive Doral. Back here with Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon. Lou City doubles up Miami FC tonight. 4-2 is the final outcome. It's a good match through 45 minutes worth of work, but the full 90 went to Lou City. Chris, the full-time highlights.
2 goals from 2 long throw-ins from Louisville City. This is the first one. Goodrum doesn't quite get the connection that he wants. The first attempt, gets it back, a second bite of the cherry, buries into the back of the net. 1-0 Louisville City.
You thought one throw-in scoring a goal was bad. Wait until we see what happens later on. 22nd minute, Miami shows some bite.
Quality delivery here from Vasquez. Finds Milano at the back post, all alone. Great connection, great strike. Definitely contender for goal of the week. The equalizing goal for Miami FC. 1-1.
And Milano gets himself on the board. Only a couple goals in the regular season. 23rd minute, there's that man again, Philip Goodrum.
Deja vu, Goodrum in the box all alone again on this occasion. He doesn't need 2 attempts. Into the back of the net on his first touch. 2-1 Louisville City.
Yeah, both of the occasions, thankful for Josh Jones' long throw. In 25th minute, back comes Miami.
Again, that diagonal ball in between the centre back and the fullback. And it's Knutson, finds himself in the box all alone. Gets the equalising goal again for Miami FC. We're tied up at 2-2.
Interesting ricochet that found Knutson getting onto the board, his 3rd goal of the season. Second half action, Lou City was doing nothing, and then all of a sudden, Aiden McFadden gets on the board.
It's that man, De Villa again, Ranger pass in, perfect pass into the path of McFadden, who takes a touch, great composure, slots it into the side netting, gives Louisville City the lead again, 3-2.
So they led for good, but there's always nice moments to have some insurance, and how about this for a missile?
Under no pressure in the middle of the park, it's the De Villa again, passing the assist, and Wilson just absolutely lets rip here into the back of the net. 4-2.
Jansen Wilson signing some autographs with youngsters, and Lou City captures their 14th win of the season. Good for 47 points. They're now 14-1-5 on the year. Miami falls to 5-10-5. They're still stuck on 20 points. Hope you enjoyed this one. Aiden McFadden, the game-winning goal for Lou City. They press on. For my broadcast partner, Chris Nurse, I'm David Gascon. We'll catch you again next week. Miami is on the road at India 11. Lou City goes to home against New Mexico, but tonight, Lou City, again, the better team. They prevail 4-2.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.